When I was at the first annual Toronto Veggie Pride Parade on June 5th, 2010, I saw a man wearing a t-shirt, and the t-shirt had a picture of a hen, and it said, "Eggs, from their vagina to your mouth." And I thought that was a great shirt, because it gets people thinking, I never really considered the fact that eggs come from chickens' vaginas. Now, there's nothing disgusting about a chicken's periods. Periods are a beautiful, natural part of life. However, there is definitely something very disgusting about exploiting the reproductive system of another species and stealing a chicken's periods and eating a chicken's periods. So don't eat chicken's periods anymore. Don't feed them to your children either. If you feel a need to feed some disgusting excretions to your children, feed them your own excretions. If you're a woman, feed your kids your own period. You know, maybe next time you're cooking pasta sauce on the stove, reach down your panties and pull out your feminine napkin and wring it out into the pasta sauce. You know, your period's red, the pasta sauce is red. Children eat your period and they won't even know the difference. And if you're a man and you ain't got a period, then feed the kids some of your semen if you want to feed the kids some disgusting excretions. You know, beat off into a little cup and pour that maybe in some soup, some nice creamy soup. I heard semen is a little salty, so your semen might taste good in some creamy soup. Now, I know that sounds completely disgusting, and it is completely disgusting. But the reason I mention that is to get you thinking about how disgusting eggs really is. You know, that's a chicken's period. You don't want to be feeding that to your kid, okay? A chicken's period is private business. I bet when you have your period, you're grateful for the fact that you're able to keep your period private business. You know, you don't have some farmer coming around stealing your periods, doing whatever he or she wants with your periods. Besides, it's not a chicken's job to feed your kids. Feed your own fucking kids. Leave the fucking chickens alone. Now, I know human beings are experts at rationalizing crazy behavior, so if you really want, you can of course convince yourself that feeding your children chicken pussy droppings ain't gross. But one thing that you cannot ever deny is the fact that egg farming is very, very cruel. Egg-laying hens come from commercial hatcheries where the male chicks are considered a waste product. Imagine that. You're born into this world and you're considered a piece of garbage. Male chicks in the egg industry are considered the wrong breed to be profitable for meat, so they are killed. They are ground up alive, or gassed, or just thrown into a bin and left to die. These are birds that would have grown up to be roosters, like these two roosters I met at Farm Sanctuary in Watkins Glen, New York. Instead, these beautiful birds die when they're babies, considered pieces of garbage. Sadly enough, you could say the male birds get off easy compared to what happens to the female birds. First, the lady chicks get debeaked. They get the beaks cut off with hot knives without any anesthesia. Then they go to the egg factory farms and they spend their lives in battery cages. Birds are inexpensive and cages are expensive, so the farmers will stuff up to 11 birds in each battery cage for maximum productivity per cage. They pack tens of thousands or even hundreds of thousands of birds into windowless sheds. The air in them sheds is filthy with dust, feathers and ammonia, making it difficult for the chickens to breathe and causing chronic respiratory problems. The cages are stacked on top of each other, so the shit falls from the birds in the top cages to the birds in the bottom cages. Imagine that, spending your whole life getting shit on. Sometimes birds die because their heads or their limbs get stuck in the cages and they can't get free to get to the food or water. They suffer from diseases and injuries and they go crazy because they can't even stretch one wing. Chickens like to dust bathe to keep their feathers healthy and to regulate their body temperature. But in the battery cages, they can't dust bathe. All they can do is rub the feathers against the wire cages, resulting in feather loss. If you're smiling right now because you only buy eggs that say cage-free on the carton, well, that's good, but you need to know that cage-free eggs come from hens who suffer too. There's no legal definition of cage-free. Often the hens are crowded in large sheds with little or no access to the outdoors. These cage-free chickens don't have beaks either because they get debeaked when the babies too, just like the chickens in the cages, for the same reason, to limit the amount of damage that they cause to each other from going crazy. You know, when you ain't got no beak, you can't cause so much damage to your neighbors. You know, and all these chickens, whether they're in a cage or in the barns, they go crazy. Because in the barns, they go crazy because there's too many birds and they get confused because they can't establish a pecking order. Finally, whether the hens are in battery cages or the hens are cage-free, all the hens suffer the same fate in the end. When their productivity declines, they don't get sent to a sanctuary like this lucky chicken that I met at Watkins Glen, New York Farm Sanctuary.
She's like, I have things to do here. Isn't she awesome? Yeah.
Instead, after a life of suffering, they get slaughtered for cheap meat. When I was at Farm Sanctuary, I saw a stone that said these words: "Unfortunately, in our world, there are far too many mother birds who never get to experience love." I know it's very sad to know about all of the mother chickens around the world who are suffering so much every day. But the good news is, it's very, very easy to eliminate chicken pussy droppings from your life. You could have scrambled tofu for breakfast, prepared the same way, with mushrooms and onions and peppers, put a little salsa on there if you want. It is delicious. You can also bake without eggs. You could use applesauce instead of eggs with some vegetable oil, or get a box of egg replacer. Look up vegan cooking on the internet. And if you want to do more than just go vegan, you could also hand out leaflets. I hand out leaflets for vegan outreach. Here's a leaflet called Why Vegan? Look at the cute little chicks on that cover. You know, in the future, the world's gonna be a vegan paradise, and you gotta do your part now to promote veganism. Say no to chicken pussy droppings, say no to cruelty, say yes to veganism, and say yes to animal rights activism. Woohoo! Thank you very much.